Hello, welcome to another episode of AI Ranch, where we talk all things AI. Today with me, I have my good friend Austin Nichloas. He is a relentless serial entrepreneur with a boundless passion for innovation. His positive outlook and bright visions of future and fresh ideas always motivates anyone who meets him. Hopefully today we also have a good discussion of that. His track record speaks for itself. Global event agency, cutting edge technology companies, and new venture which is being realized right now, physical golf course, right? So beyond that, he is also authored a book and served as a managing director for Startup Wise Guys, which is an acceleration program in Baltics. Welcome. Let's start by the golf course. Are you really building a golf course?
Yes, I'm not building a golf course, Evalds. I'm actually piggybacking on a golf course that's already established out. Piggybacking. So I was very fortunate. It must be about 5 or 6 years ago. A friend introduced me to Uzma golf course, and he said to me, by the way, there's a house for sale on the course. And I took one look at it, and I spent a moment. It's one of those things when sometimes you just don't need much time to decide. My heart, it was a very emotive decision. And when you make emotional decisions, you can sometimes suffer the consequences because it's very much a passion project. But yes, it's my happy place. So I'm in the process of renovating a house that's on the fifth hole fairway. And I wish I could be in some respects out there more often, but really typically I'm out there all summer, and I would recommend anyone, if they want to get away from the hustle and bustle of city life, to take some time just to simply be. And I hope that I can attract more people to come out that way.
How often do you need to change windows when somebody hits your house?
Well, fortunately, it's a fair distance away to avoid that problem. But the training, I am building a training area outside the house, so it might be, it could become a problem.
I tried once play a golf, and then they sent me home. They said, without a license, we don't let you play here. What about your situation?
Well, that's what we're aiming to do, is basically introduce as many new players as possible to the game. So it would be an honor to invite you to spend a few days out there. We have this 3-day intensive get your green card course. So green card not meaning you can
go to America?
Off to America. No, it's actually so that you do have that license that you can show to other golf courses.
Is it like that everywhere? Like I've seen in movies that in America you can just walk in and play golf, or is it just like for us here that they don't let you play?
I think the majority of courses would expect you to know how to hold a club, and what there is. I know there is certain golf etiquette. There are some do's and don'ts that we can go over, but really, kind of where I'm focusing on is to sort of, I think you can draw a lot of parallels between golf and life. So I guess I'm sort of crossing this boundary between a little bit of life coaching, a little bit of golf coaching, and just trying to sort of say that, you get adversity in life. It doesn't necessarily go according to plan. When you play golf, you know that it doesn't always go to plan, but it's how you deal with those setbacks. And that's where I'm sort of hoping and expecting that I can not only teach a few things about golf, but maybe some things that you can take off the course to apply in
so it's like a quick course for a crash course for golf, right? And also life course?
A little bit. Because I think in some respects, I call it as the Ozarks in my mind is a place to be, because we sometimes get so wrapped up in doing, and it's quite a cheesy thing to say, but we are human beings, not human doings. And I think just spending a few days out there, it helps you recalibrate. And I do think that golf is a prime opportunity to sort of build meaningful connections with people, because you spend time with these people, you walk and talk. And they do say that golf is a good walk spoilt. I disagree with that. It can be a very entertaining walk, but more importantly, it gives you an opportunity to meet people.
I have heard that golf course, because especially you need this green cards, and it's not the most cheapest sport. So you meet the kind of good business connections. Have you already had this kind of experience?
Many years ago, it's funny. I used to play down at Umala. It was called Saliena before Umala.
Yeah.
And I would rock up. I used to drive a Moscovich. When I had my...
You used to drive Soviet car?
I used to have a Moscovich. And I think driving a Moscovich is a bit like doing business in Latvia. You know, it's a lot of fun. It's not an easy drive, but it turns a few heads. And but yes, I used to have one, and it was used as a marketing tool for travel out there. So I had a big, like, Latvian flag rolling on the side of it, and I had this suitcase on the top to promote some of the experiences that we provided. But yeah, I used to rock up down to Saliena, and sure enough, Porsche parked next to a Porsche Cayenne, and you know, you get the Range Rovers, and I'd rock up in this little Moscovich. And the amount of times I was tempted to say, okay, on the 18th green, this putt, and just chuck your car keys down, you know, like, okay, this putt to win the car, but I never got around to that. But you're right, you do get to meet some people that you wouldn't necessarily be able to sit down and have a meeting with in a meeting room. And I think in some ways, yeah, I don't want to sound too spiritual, but I think golf is a little bit of a window into someone's soul. You know, you actually get an idea of how they operate is how they actually do play golf. And it's a good indicator with like whether you want to work and partner and develop a connection with this person or not. And so I hope that I can sort of enable people to think about playing the game. I hope that then that enables them, should they want to play on some of the courses in this region and build those connections, that'd be fantastic. But more importantly, it's just really a case of just getting away and learning something new.
I think it's a good pitch. So we should look for Ozarks, yeah?
Ozarks.com. Double Z. So OZZARKS.com.
I like the pitch, like 3 days, great experience, get the green card, get the right business contacts, get the skills.
And have fun.
Yeah, have fun. So yeah. So but let's move to the AI. So you might know that, especially with your startup experience, accelerator experience, running different businesses, that AI is not that easy as it looks from outside. At least the data from the business side looks like that only few % of companies still buy AI products. Everybody knows about AI products, but it seems that they are fearing to implement it or don't see how to implement it. So how do you deal with fearing new things? What's your secret like?
I think we need to break it down a little bit in terms of kind of, we know, I think the vast majority of people understand that there is a shift. Something's happening at the moment. And I suppose when there's a shift, there's change. And I think whenever there's change, people can either fully embrace it or they fear it. And I think at the moment, it's like, because they don't understand it, there probably is an element of fear. And they're just sort of thinking, okay, I'll get round to adopting it later on. But the issue is here is if you don't start to educate yourself and begin to understand it, you're going to be left, you know, you're going to be left behind. So myself, why am I getting into golf? I don't want to go back into that sort of topic, but I do actually think I'm future-proofing myself in some ways. I know that probably in 10 years' time, 15 years' time, I doubt a robot is going to come in and just sort of introduce someone to a game of golf and be providing a very real experience. So that's sort of me sort of starting to already be thinking, okay, what can I be doing in 10, 15 years' time?
What experiences would be less affected by this intelligent automation, right?
Yeah, and I think this is probably part of the threat. The fear is, okay, we start fully embracing and fully endorsing the use of AI within a company. What change is that going to bring within that company, both in terms of, okay, workforce, in terms of processes, in terms of actually the culture? because I think there is that case of, all right, within an organization, you start introducing products of AI, there is that threat of, okay, is this actually going to be removing me from my job? It's like, do I really want to be doing this when I'm pretty much safe at the moment? So I think there's lots of issues at play here to sort of get that understanding. And
so is it the same as it was with technologies before AI, or you think this new thing which is coming, it's fundamentally different? Like, for example, years ago, like there was the mobile apps, right? Initially like people thought like it's for games, nobody will use it properly for business. Now every business have mobile apps. So is it like that kind of technology, or is it much more fundamental from what you see?
From what I've learned and understand, it's a seismic shift. We're entering I'd say a fourth industrial revolution. I think kind of where in the 2010s, let's say, we could say that we were living in an attention economy. I think in the 2020s now, which I think is partly where I'm a little bit, if I'm honest, freaked out by it all, is that we're living in an intimacy economy now, because I think we know already that some of these kind of ChatGPT, if you go into a sort of a full self-awareness exercise and you start actually extracting some information about yourself on using this tool, it's incredible already how much it knows about you, and that's a good thing and a bad thing in a way, because if we talk about intimacy, kind of what is love? Love is understanding, and this bot AI already has a pretty good understanding of what makes you tick. That's huge.
But so you already touched a little bit. So as I understand, you think that there will not be robots teaching how to play golf, right?
I can't see it. I think there's going to be many tools out there that support that process. But I think in terms of kind of whether I myself you mentioned I'm a serial entrepreneur. Yes, okay, I'm going to use this term upgrading because I don't want to use the word change. I've been continually upgrading, and think at this moment in my life, I've come to a point of like, okay, I'm going through another evolution. I'm going to have to change my focus, and I'm going to actually upgrade and start working in areas that I think probably would need some, it gives me an element of curiosity, but I can't see that being in the short term automated. I think
maybe it should not be automated. Is there some things do you think from what you have seen? And by the way, for listeners, I remember when we worked together on some of these AI products some years ago, the generative AI just came out, and I remember how you were using it intensively. I believe since that you have advanced in these tools, right? So you know the capability. So is there some work, some jobs that you think AI should not take over, which should be left to the humans?
Should there be some that are left? One hopes there are, but realistically there aren't. I know one thing that I'm trying to do now, I love working with startups. It's a bit of a it's a side curve, but kind of startups, it's fueled by optimism. Yeah, you've got to be on a level 11 optimism scale. And then there are days when you hit the pessimism scale and you go down to the 0 - 1. So it's this big flip from one side to the other. And what I'm trying to do at the moment is be a little bit level. I've probably got a few more grey hairs in my beard, but just be on the right side of realism, yeah? So I think there's an element of I'm trying to be very real in my mind about what the future possibly does have in store. In my mind, there's not going to be any job that's not disrupted by AI. I would thoroughly recommend everyone Googling Ada. So this is the first robot artist. It's effectively a humanoid artist. I think kind of what we talk about art is that it's a reflection on society. Now, there are a lot of artists saying, hold up, how can this robot be producing creative art? It is creative, it's got cameras. It's solely taking what it's visually inputting into itself and producing art. Who would have thought that you can automate or create an AI artist? No one. You thought creativity is a safe bet.
Yeah.
But what's creativity?
Yeah.
And Einstein talks about creativity being the art of knowing how to disguise your sources. Me. How many sources can AI input to then be creative? So I do think that there's a sort of, I like to think that
and it goes beyond sources. So if you just look back and for example, DeepMind founder just got the Nobel Prize for this AlphaFold, which basically, if you think about it, previously to have these protein folding data, it took 6 months, 100,000 euros. Now it takes 1 minute and it's for free, basically. And the company, how they got there, previously if you remember, there was this AlphaGo where they beat the best Go player, with this also game with many strategic moves. And the key there is that the AI was able to beat the Grandmaster with the moves that no human being has been discovered for 2,000 years plus. They have written countless books of moves, but never discovered these moves which AI discovered. So talking about creativity,
it's the move 37, isn't it? I know the story about AlphaGo, and it is that one move that they think, oh, the AI, it's made a mistake, but actually, sure enough, it took an outlier approach, and I think that's in some ways fantastic, that it can produce some ideas and some left field thinking that you wouldn't necessarily be mindful of, and it can inspire creativity. So it's with all these things handled well and with the right attitude and with the right ethical, let's say, or being directionally correct, it's going to be a wonderful superpower. Obviously, if handled, let's say, on the other side of the coin, not well, it's a huge threat. But I think going back to the point in terms of what's safe, it's going to create a lot of jobs. The world's going to evolve, and I think in my mind, there's obviously going to be a big caring workforce, because we're an aging population, and we all know about people who are
There's already the elderly care chatbots and robots, and the many elderly people even don't realize, or they actually, maybe even if they realize, they actually like talking with these.
They do. I'm very honored to have a mentor. I'm sure Mike will watch this, and he knows how much I value his input and his time. But sure enough, yes, he is fully embracing the power of AI. He uses it as his right-hand man. He's using it because he finds it incredibly stimulating to be conversing with his chatbot. And so in some respects, yes, that's a great positive. It's combating loneliness in some respects as well, But
is it right? So my original question was actually not what AI will not replace, but what we should not let AI replace. I mean, these some of these fundamental aspects that makes us human, like, should we, I think, at least for my sense, I should take care of my own parents, right? I should take care of my own kids. I should not delegate that to AI. What do you think?
I completely agree.
So, but it's easy to.
It's exactly, kind of even before AI, we know that the mobile phone is a digital pacifier. Your kid's kicking off. What's the easiest thing to do? Chuck them a phone and they're good as gold, Does it solve the problem? Does it actually enable them to be curious and have an appetite for learning and use their imagination? Possibly not, because it's just information being fed to them and they just digest it. So I think there is a case of kind of what AI does is it sort of provides us with a very simple, fast and easy fix to a lot of issues that we have, when often spending time with your kids, spending time and looking after your parents.
Right. Teaching your kid, like, let's say, reading or mathematics.
Of course. It's complex, it's timely, it's difficult. And it creates
the bonding, right? The relationship.
Exactly. but that's what it is. It's because I think in some respects, this is what kind of they say, doesn't it? That kids will not remember the toys that you've given them and well, yeah, just what you give them. It's actually the time you spend with them. And I think kind of, again, on a positive side, if AI does enable a 4-day work week, if it does enable us to sort of readdress that balance where we can be focusing and spending time on things that really do matter, wonderful, you know?
So you feel we might get to the point where we technically can automate almost anything, but we decide ourselves not to do this because we know some of these values which are fundamental. What do you think?
All right, I'm going to be real again. I'm trying not to move into the pessimism sphere. I think because there's so much change, and I think it's going to be really chaotic in the next 5 to 10 years where things are beginning to settle. Because I think there will be a lot of shortage in work because jobs are being replaced, there's going to be a sort of a scramble to make something that has value. Yeah, so I think any opportunity out there, you're going to get entrepreneurs thinking, yep, I'm going to build it because there's a need there and there's a problem there and I'm going to fix it. Whether they are thinking whether that's morally right or wrong, I can't see it happening.
No, I mean, commercially, you're right. Like, I believe also that in most cases, the market will drive the actual things, how they will turn out. So if it makes sense for a company to like enable some AI bot to replace 10 employees with like 10 times less money spent, it will happen. Like
it's already happening. Kind of, I think it's IBM Watson, isn't it? That's a better doctor than any doctor out there now.
So it's actually, there's even better doctors nowadays, but you're right. There were the AI doctors. So there was a recent study where, and I have a question for you. What do you think? What was the best? So it's a study from this year, early this year. So they did this for a couple of years already. So they tried to do the diagnosis of a patient with the symptoms, so and the descriptions of the patient history, and they give this to the largest, best language models like the ChatGPT 3.0 and so on, right? And then they give this to the best doctors, and then they give this to the best doctors with the ChatGPT assistants. What do you think? Which turned out the best results?
I know. I think.
Well, what do you think?
It's going to be the AI.
Yeah, you're right. It's a kind of, because people are still thinking that so basically the doctor alone was the worst results.
Mm-hmm.
So then the doctor with the assistant actually was the second best,
mm-hmm.
and just the AI system was the best results.
And I think we know that, and this is where it's even when we look at sort of psychotherapy and how people now are turning to getting life advice from bots, because at the end of the day, they don't get tired. They haven't got any bias, you know, and they say it how it is, you know, they remain, they're objective. When you're dealing with a doctor, often they're very stressed. They're probably hungry. They haven't slept very well. They've got 3 kids at home.
Overworked,
underpaid, and it does influence how they manage themselves. I think generally everyone knows that people are trying their best, but they're human, you know. And I think if I was given a choice right now to be diagnosed by an AI bot or a human doctor, already I would choose the AI.
Even if legally you cannot get a prescription, you probably will test the things that doctor says.
Of course.
So it's just natural course. But going forward, so we are already touching some topics where AI overlaps what is human. So I know we both worked on very sensitive topic in terms of AI, on how AI is affecting conversations, right? How to build the best conversations, how to achieve the results from conversations. We have this great system of speech patterns, which basically enables to extract every single detail of these conversations in contact centers. And you had this, you still have the get focused, right? This there was a unique, actually before the time, I think this tool where, if I remember correctly, you place it physically on the table and everybody puts their own phones off, right? And then it tracks who is talking at what time, how much, so that the conversation goes to different phases, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember correctly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but what do you see? Can conversational AI bots basically replace some of these parts? So, if you would call customer service, sales calls, project management meetings, can AI start replacing humans now? How soon it will?
Well, the technology, it can. It can be done if we look at, and I predict, and I saw a little short on this now actually, where I think it was a booking reservation bot was talking to a hotel reservation bot, and it was two bots talking to themselves, to get the.
It's actually funny. There was like, so I'm associate professor, and we did a lot of science stuff in university. So when I was learning my PhD or master's, I even don't remember, there was a lot of theory around how multi-agent systems should communicate, right?
Yeah.
They made specific languages for AI agents to communicate, and
Right.
it turns out that the human language is the natural way for AI agents to communicate.
Well, that's interesting. In some ways, that's encouraging, because at least then you get an insight and a little bit of an understanding of what they're saying. But I think once the language flips, we don't know what's going on in that black box, and so therefore it could be kind of what comes out from that is God only knows. But I do think in terms of in sales and in these kind of, I think we all know when you're trying to get hold or you're dealing with an AI chatbot, whether it be a text bot or whether you're actually talking to someone, you don't know now these days whether you are talking to a bot or not. I think at this stage you can gauge.
But we have seen this funny things in our systems, like at least our clients tell that sometimes people already are starting to ask normal human beings, are you a robot? Yeah. So imagine talking with somebody and somebody tells you, are you a robot?
No, but I don't know. Maybe that could be considered a compliment, because you're actually speaking so well. You're speaking so timely. You're listening so well.
Let's hope that that's compliment.
but I do think kind of if we look at what, let's say with pitch patterns, what it's encouraging, let's say, people to do from a people-to-people conversation, I would say that by providing the tool, and I think this is where we've always got to be thinking back, is this is a tool. And I think if it does enable people and to coach people that in order to communicate well, you need to listen well. And in order to be understood, you need to, let's say, be timely and have your pace and things like this, in terms of how you communicate. It's brilliant, And I think in some ways where I think pitch patterns, it's the uniqueness of the product. But when we start talking about emotion, that is where it's like, oh, okay, this is incredibly sexy at some point that it's actually can do that. But on the other hand, it's like, whoa, okay, what does that mean? How is it doing that? And it's actually the again, it probably is that unknown. It's like, what's going on here? And I think that is where, if we look at it, and you know this, and I would like to hear your opinion on this, is essentially all emotions are algorithms at the end of the day. If we break them down.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that the European Union decided to forbid emotions. So basically, there is also downsides to that. You can imagine that, there is actually research done by Effective, where basically the company that was bought in the US was doing the emotion research, where they give the not virtual, but Google glasses to autism kids, and the glasses show the emotions for other people around them, and the kids learn to recognize emotions. And when they take off the glasses, the kids remember how to read the emotions. So this is a really valuable tool, which is not available in Europe anymore, which is forbidden.
Which is a shame, because I think this is a case of kind of what we're having what life is about more often than not is actually how one does manage one's emotions, how one does remain calm.
So it seems that you're on the same note, that basically you're right. AI can read emotions, can generate emotions, but the emotional part, basically, it can be used for good, basically.
Yeah.
But we are, so we need to live with that. Hopefully, in the future, maybe things would change regarding these regulations, but.
I don't know how these things can be controlled. And I think this is the step where I think I learned this the other day as well. If we think back, in terms of how, let's say, we're adopting it. So I mentioned that I think AI at this stage, we understand it's a tool with incredible power, And I think the relationship between the human and the AI is that there is an element of a partnership. But I would think at this stage, one would say that the human has the upper hand in terms of how it's been adopted. Like you said, the decision-making process, how we're incorporating AI within our company, how we're using AI in our daily usage. But I would say that kind of, if we look at what's happened in the last 10, 15 years, remember TomTom, SatNav. So you would use TomTom and you would be sort of driving thinking, is this sending me the right way? You wouldn't be fully confident whether this is working or not.
It's driving down the road to the river.
And then you have to turn around and go, that bridge isn't there, TomTom. Thank you very much. But obviously now...
You don't trust blindly.
You don't trust it. But obviously now, whenever you sort of put that in your Waze or your Google Maps, you're fully buying in, So therefore the authority and your decision-making has been completely influenced by this AI product. So I think that's where this shift is happening, and it is happening so fast, And I think this is probably one of the things that I think we have to educate ourselves in this. Now, I think in my mind, it's like we're on a road of education. You mentioned I was an innovator. Yes, I'm an innovator and early adopter. I'm probably thinking that my decision to fully engage or fully evade is coming quite soon for me. Because as soon as we start thinking of putting chips in our brains and stuff like that, I'm out. It's just like, I don't really want to be part of that society. So I don't think I'm going to be the only one, but I think at what point one has to make that decision, whether you go in or out, I don't know. And what could be the consequences of going that way or that way, I don't know at the moment. But I do think that I'm mindful of that.
It's crazy. I have talked with many founders actually about this topic, and many of them told me that if you put chip in the brain and it connects you with AI and you can do things 1,000 times faster, then they will say like, well, put it in right away. So, and I think like why people are like that, because I think it's not hard to think few steps ahead what might go wrong, right?
Totally. And again, it goes back to sort of, do you really want to be, I guess, being taught, like you're putting a Waze in you, you're not actually. I much prefer the relationship I had with TomTom in some ways, where I've got an upper hand, rather than just have this thing in my head just telling me, no, do that, go there, do this, do that. And I don't know. I know this is, and it's I'm not there to be able to have a strong opinion
just like
on it,
greed or some like wanting to be better than others. Like, what's driving somebody to want to do that?
Power, isn't it?
Power. I think it's funny thing if there would be actually many people taking chips and being super human AI empowered people, might be a situation that that they would not be actually in power positions.
Again, going maybe a little bit deeper, I think I have this saying that I think pre-AI, it was all about your IQ. Yeah,
because they would be easy to control.
Yeah, okay. So but I think in some ways, let's say that, and we touched on it with conversational intelligence. What does pitch patterns do? What was focused all about? It was actually, in some respects, in my North Star on that was a caring to be curious. Yeah, you're asking good questions, you're getting good responses, you're getting good engaging conversations and good feedback, and building that relationship. So in some respect, Pre-AI, it was all about your IQ. That's what schools are sort of developing. With AI now, it's about your QI, it's your question intelligence. So I would say that kind of the QI is the new IQ, that you actually need to develop a really good question intelligence.
I would argue not only that, but the questions are okay, but we've been talking with many people recently about the critical thinking. So I don't think it's possible to teach anyone critical thinking, question intelligence, or whatever you call it, if you don't have the foundation of the knowledge, basically. It's even maybe counterintuitive, but I think like in the age of AI, people who would be able to go the farthest are the ones who have very strong natural organic AI. Basically, if you don't have very strong natural organic AI, there will be no critical thinking.
I agree. And I think this goes back to the short, fast and easy, or the complex, timely, difficult. What are you passionate about? What's driving you? What are you going deep into? You know, and I think because this is what AI does, is it gives you such a good periphery of everything and anything. You know, you get that shallow insight into so much, whereas actually kind of those that actually do niche and go very deep into a certain topic of area of interest are going to be the ones that actually can develop innovative AI solutions to serve that particular niche, you know, or they can actually, they got that passion, that energy, because at the end of the day, we're energy, you know, and that's what connects people, is this sort of sixth sense, this energy. And I think that's when you know you have that energy, it's going to be what you attract and what you're interested in and what you specialize in. And I think that's probably where I think the opportunities are, is to go, like you mentioned, build those foundations and go deep on a particular topic and niche.
Yeah, so we touched a lot of good topics, hopefully valuable for listeners. So for the end, let's do some shorter, more fun questions. Okay?
Go for
it. So what is the furthest you have ever run? Kilometers.
21, but I'm thinking of doing 42.
42, why?
The marathon, it's a 12-week program. But anyway, to get, but we'll see if my ankle holds.
How do you stay warm in winter?
I don't put the heating on. I'm British, so I still have my heating on a very low temperature. I wear a few thermals, and I love my woolly hats.
You don't do the cold swimming? Or
yes, no, I'm still into that.
What's the proper name in English?
I call it I've got to pronounce this right, because sometimes it gets misinterpreted or misheard. Daily dips. I have my dip. So yeah, pretty much every day I go into the lake, and anyone.
So you do daily dips. That's good. So what makes you laugh?
Oh, what makes me laugh? My kids.
Which social media should people delete themselves?
All of them.
All of them.
No. I think definitely I've yet to sort of take on TikTok. That's been the one I've avoided at all costs. Obviously, LinkedIn is important.
Yes, delete TikTok, right?
Yeah, delete TikTok.
But that's not only you telling that. Americans also telling that.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just got a deal, right?
I think they have.
So they make money, so they don't want you to delete if you're American. So what books you recommend which are not popular?
I think on all these topics, I think they are popular, but I really do value Mo Gawdat's books. So Scary Smart, The Little Voice in Your Head.
What are those, like fiction?
No, it does touch on a lot of the AI, what's going on at the moment. He's a good spokesperson for, the other one is Solving to Be Happy. So it's actually how we're managing this shift we're going through. So I would really recommend going deep with Mo Gawdat.
Do you think we live in something like a matrix or simulation?
No, I don't.
Will AI make us better humans or worse?
After this conversation, I think we could say if managed well. And I guess for me, AI it's a 1-year-old child. Yeah. So if we can actually bring this child up and feed it with the right information and in the right way, it's going to be amazing, create amazing wonders. if we feed it and disrespect it, do not manage it well, it could be our worst downfall you can imagine. No one likes a bratty teenager.
Does AI make us dumber?
I can't do a one-word answer for that. It can make us shallower.
How do you stay positive?
On days like this, it's not difficult.
Golf?
Golf. I would say just taking time to, I use this term of journaling. I think now we're at an age where we create baggage. But I've now reevaluated what that means, and I just say that I have a box of books. So I have a box of my thoughts, box of my journals. Some are good, some are bad, but generally I always try to think, okay, well, everything happens for a reason.
The last question, as you've been the mentor and managing director of the Startup Accelerator, what would be the advice for new entrepreneurs going into business nowadays?
Can I give 3 bits of advice?
Yeah, do
3 bits.
Do 3 bits.
One, I think fuck up on other people's money before you fuck up on yours. So I think spend some time working for someone before going out on your own venture. Second one I'd say is find a buddy to do it with. It's a team. Entrepreneurship is a team sport. So find that person, people, ideally a team of 3, that you can share the journey with. Both of these I didn't do. So that's lessons from my own story. And I think third one is again, possibly try and be not overly optimistic, overly pessimistic. Obviously be on the right-hand side of realism, and just keep directionally correct, keep focused, and know that when you're saying the word no, you're doing a hell of a lot of things right.
Yeah, I think good advice. So it was great talking to you. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching another episode of AI Ranch. As a gratitude for work, please subscribe, like, share, and see you in the next one.